We know that you all have come with a lot of questions, so now we get to hear from you.
I have 3 kids, ranging from toddler to middle school. How do I navigate conversations about screen time without starting fights?
Calvin, thank you for the vulnerability of that question. When you discuss technology with your kids, and if you have a backbone, which you will have a backbone, there are certain things you're going to say no to. There is going to be fights, and it's going to get ugly sometimes. But you can't control how your kid responds. So to enter into the situation with calmness, to enter into it realizing that just like it might be their room or their phone, that it's your household, it's your room, it's your phone as well. You're inviting them into the process, and if you can write some things down, that's really helpful along the way. And you point back to this and say, if it's not fair, then let's fix it, let's adjust it. And oftentimes with technology, another idea is it wants us to consume, and to offer the questions like, how can we use this to create? So again, the initial thought of the theology of technology, how is it very good, how is it cursed, how can we redeem as a family? You take some of those high-level ideas and you try to apply it to say, how is this working out with my kids' TikTok account? What's in their best interest, and how can I lead them on a path to more freedom?
In a blended family situation where each parent is coming to the table with an already established set of rules or boundaries around things like social media and gaming, how do those parents set new boundaries together that are going to work for everyone in the home?
Crystal, blended families and phones are tough. And because what I've seen and what we've seen at Access is that oftentimes one household will just have completely different rules than the other household. And if your child is a talented teenager, which they are, then they will pit the parents against each other. Or sometimes that happens. Sometimes it would just, on the most heartbreaking, it's like, well, if dad's going to really double down on the rules, then mom is just going to be super loose. So again, I just want to acknowledge it's really hard. It is really hard. The invitation is to say, hey, there's a lot of good things about phones and a lot of hard things. And to invite the other parent to say, let's co-parent on this. Can we be on the same page? Can we get close to the same page? And they may say no, and there's nothing you can do. But they might say, yes, I see what's at stake. I see that how this is pulling at our kid's heart, how it's pulling at their mind. There are plenty of studies that say about how social media impacts a child's mental health. Everyone hates the idea of a kid having suicidal ideation. We can all get on the same page that we want our kids to have mental health and to have a strong self-efficacy. So to start from a position of hope, this is what we're saying yes to. Will you say yes to this with me? If they'll say it, that's great. Sometimes people get scared about writing things down, but you say, here are 8 different domains. What do you think about this? Can we sort of agree to some of these? And then I just say, God bless you in that process. It's hard. But your child will know that you are entering into this proactively. And when you have boundaries with this, deep down they'll say, Mom loves me.
Hello, my name is Madeline, and I have an awesome son in elementary school, so I know the value of play. My question is, how do video games fit into that, and are they considered play?
Madeline, great question. We have to start off with video games are amazing. Like, if you just start off with the question of like, how's it something good? How's it bad? How can we redeem it? The landscapes, the interactions, the creativity, the adventure, the dopamine. It is, just video game landscape is incredible. Now, a couple things about video games. One is that you can actually become addicted to them. So it's a little bit different than other games that we may have seen. It can lead to antisocial behavior. There's like support groups for this. So there's a lot of different types of video games. Access.org has content about many of those video games. But then the question is it really play? And what is play?
That's so good. Now, I'm going to be old school. I'm always going to be that person. But to me, there is nothing like getting outside and digging in the dirt. And so we want to give our kids space, although video games are a blast, we want to give our kids space to experience lots of different kinds of play. I believe that's what God intended. He's created all of this space for us. Let's help our kids engage that way.
And sociologically, from the anxious generation, it's called unstructured child-initiated play that's not mediated by adults. And video games, their goal is to make you successful and to keep you coming back for more. So it's just, when you think about play, just defining that term and understanding the different options for what we mean by play.
How do I know when to talk to my young child about the content that their friends might show them? And how do I prevent them from seeing it? Or how do I respond if they see explicit content?
Okay, Ryan. This is a tough question. Because in essence, it's like, how do I protect my kid? How do I protect my little kid? How do I protect my medium-sized kid? How do I protect my older kid from seeing things that I don't want them to see? And that's one of the biggest challenges with these devices. And so the question is, how do I protect my kid? In one essence, you don't. In another essence, you got to prepare your child for the path, not the path for your child. You have to help them know what happens when they come across something and they weren't even looking for it. What do they do when they're looking for it and they come across something and it harms their soul? Now, on the pornography and sexual images, there's a great book out there. It's called Good Pictures, Bad Pictures. And there's like a Good Pictures, Bad Pictures Junior. So it really helps introduce the idea of like what happens when you see this, if you see it, what age you see it, if you're aroused when you see it, that affirms the humanity of your child, doesn't shame them, and it opens up that conversation. So again, this goes back to you as a parent who gets to have one conversation with your kid that lasts a lifetime. There are going to be things, no matter how hard you try, they're going to make it over the wall or under the wall or through the wall or into your child's mind. And so you get to be attuned to them, you get to walk with them, and you get to help them repair through some of these hard things. And again, to have that conversation ahead of time and saying, you might see something, or this is why. And even with older, the last thing, if you have older kids in your household, they are going to know some things. That 17, 18-year-old, that 16-year-old, 15-year-old, doesn't matter. They're going to have experienced some life that you never experienced because you weren't with a smartphone, with that social media app, with this level of hormones in your blood system and your bloodstream. But, you know, your 12-year-old is on the way. So to say, help me, help us work on this together.
I do have a couple of thoughts on this. Earlier you referenced practicing your I'm not shocked face. And that's kind of in jest, but the truth is when our child comes to us and shares something that they've seen, it's difficult to not just, and that can oftentimes put up a wall. So that's one thing, is that's truly something that you have to work on because it is shocking, some of the things that our children are going to experience. And also, if you ever hear your child use the phrase, hey, I have a friend who saw, or I have a friend who experienced. They'll use that language because they're trying to break through to you and communicate with you about something they've experienced, but they're a little shy to do that. So just recognize a couple of those things as a way that your child is trusting you and wants to engage in this conversation with you.
So my wife and I gave our oldest a phone when they turned 14, and that seemed like they were waiting forever. Like their friends had phones for a while. And then we have another kid who's now 14 and we're not ready to give them a phone. How do we have that conversation? What age is a good age? And then what do we tell our other 3 kids? Because we've got 5 total and we've got to create this boundary as parents. Help us out.
Oh, Jason, thank you so much for this question. There are so many variations of this. Life doesn't seem fair to kids, does it? Because it's not just about phones. It's about all sorts of privileges. So here's a couple of thoughts that I have on this is be transparent with your kids. As you're learning, I think it's okay to sit down with your family and say, guys, I'm learning more. And because of what I'm learning, here's some new, I wouldn't use the term restrictions, but some new thoughts that we need to have. I want us to change our mindsets. I want us to think a little bit differently about when we engage with phones, different social media apps, whatever that may look like for your family. And just be really transparent. Also, revisit the charter. I'm a huge fan of having these things written down, but write them in pencil because guess what? Technology is changing. So maybe your 14-year-old who got whatever phone that was with whatever features they had, maybe it might look different. Maybe there's a different type of phone that your child could have. Maybe it's a different device. Maybe it's a different way to communicate with people, and to just share that and be very open. This isn't about age. You notice that we never gave a prescription. This is the age to give your child social media apps or phones or what have you. That's okay. So your kids need to know this isn't about hitting some magic age. Technology is ever evolving and every child is different.
And as you give it, ideally is like it's incremental.
I feel like this has been such good time. I know that you all have had great discussion around this topic. We have certainly enjoyed being a part of this. I learn every time that I engage in this sort of thing. David, thank you so much for being here and sharing your wisdom. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I love the chance to talk with you, Allie, and I'm really excited. Access is a national partner for Life.Church. And that's because of our friendship and your leadership as you're thinking about kids as soon as they're born until they graduate and young adults in that space. And so parents out there, grandparents out there, youth workers and caring adults, know that you play an incredible role in the life of your kid. Parents, you are irreplaceable. You're the most influential person in your kid's life. And you're going to have one conversation with your kid that lasts a lifetime. It's probably going to be 50 or 60 years. And you're going to be talking about the smartphone for most of those years. Technology it's here to stay. It's amazing. There are really cool things about it and really hard things about it. And your kids need your wisdom. And so practice that patience, listen to them, learn from them, and embrace their wonder.
Click here to discover biblical truths about living a connected life.